VAFA TV at vafatv.com.
Hello there, welcome to this very special edition of VAFA TV, coming to you from Sports Cover Arena with a magnificent new grandstand behind us, put in for the VAFA Finals Series. Everything is in preparation here for the second semi-final on Saturday in Premier St Bernard's and University Blacks, and then on Sunday it's the Premier B preliminary final, St Kevin's and Old Carey. Great final series ahead. We've seen the previews of all the other sections on the vafa.com.au this week. I caught up with 2004 University Blues Premiership coach John Kanis to do our preview of Premier Section. Take a look. Hello, welcome to the Premier Section Finals preview. I've got John Kanis with me, of course, the 2004 University Blues Premiership coach in A grade. John, are you excited about this final series, the first final series we've seen without Old Zaverians in it for since that year?
Since that year, yes, since 2004. Zavs competed in every year since then, and I think previous to that it was 93 or 92 or something like that. So an amazing run has come to an end for one season at least. And I'm sure that given the combatants tomorrow in St Bernard's and Uni Blacks, both who felt the wrath of a surging Old Zavs late in the season, they'll be particularly relieved for them not to be there.
It's an interesting scenario. We've got both teams, both semi-finals, the teams played each other in round 18. A bit of ducks and drakes going on with both St Bernard's and Old Scotch resting close to half their side, so we expect massive changes. Not a lot of form to read into out of that last game, but given what we've seen over the last 6 weeks of the season, I think that's a fair indicator. Blacks form versus St Bernard's form going into the second semi.
Oh, well, Black's form's been outstanding, except for the hiccup against Old Zavs, when it must be said there was no Hogan, there was no Pattinson, and there was no Cruz. So probably three of their best in their top five players at the very least. They can be well pleased with their second half of the year. Their percentages worked its way out to 170. Well, that's a really dominant percentage for Premier Division, which is normally a very tightly contested area. So
Blacks have scored 300 more points than St Bernard's, and they've conceded 200 points less than St Bernard's. So easily the best defence and easily the best attack in the competition.
Yeah, and look that says it all. The other thing that they bring to the table, if I can just rack up cliche number one for the chat, Andrew, is that they've got Premier Division finals experience from last year. They had two great finals. They weren't quite up to it against St Bede's, but a great win over Old Scotch, and for mine, they're just perfectly placed to take the points. Certainly this week, and overall, I think that they're well and truly hot favourites.
So you're saying Blacks to take this week, move into a grand final, their first A grade grand final, I think it'll be for
1974.
74 when they last won it.
Yes, with the likes of Cordners and Costellos, all those sort of people. Batten, I think
there'll be one Batten there.
One Batten there, which they'll love the history of that. But 1974 was their last flag.
So Blacks on Saturday against St Bernard's. St Bernard's do have obviously the three forwards that are exciting, and Jones, Merrington, and Gleeson as well.
Yeah, really good players.
I guess the negative or the detractor from that is when you look at University Blacks side, they've got 10 players with more than 10 goals this season. St Bernard's have only got 4. So just where are the goals going to come from if Blacks defenders manage to shut down those St Bernard's targets?
Well, yes, true. And they've also got that little fellow on the deck, just trying to think of his name, Peart.
Yep.
Yeah, who can kick some goals, a left footer who's quite slippery. He'll be quite a handful in an open forward line at Elstonwick Park. Look, in Jones and Merrington, St Bernard's have got fantastic players. I mean, they are really good players, and the game will be won and lost in the midfield. I mean, you hear that said all the time, but if St Bernard's hit in hard and get enough of the ball and get the ball into an open forward line, those two players won't let them down. I mean, they are seriously good forwards.
We're hoping for a breezeless afternoon at Elstonwick Park.
I believe it is going to be.
Oh yeah, calm conditions are predicted for Elstonwick Park on Saturday. Also on Saturday, the first semi-final is going to be played at the same time down at Trevor Barker Oval, just 6 kilometres away. Collegians taking on Old Scotch. Collegians touched up the Cardinals last Friday night under lights, but it'll be a very different Scotch side that comes into this game.
Well, Andrew, it meant nothing. Scotch have been a very good side through the second half of the season, and as we discussed after the game and on various mediums since then, Old Scotch learnt from last year. They beat Blacks in round 18, had a comfortable 6 or 7 goal win against them, and then went out to lose the following week against Blacks last year in the first semi. So the feeling for them is once bitten, twice shy. Rest the players that need a bit of a break. That's what they did last week. got a bit of a hiding. They'll bring back 9 or 10, I would imagine. I haven't seen the sides yet, but they're the sort of numbers that they're capable of bringing back. And they face a very, very confident collegian side, courtesy of their lack of personnel last week. So it'll be interesting to see which way it goes.
Do you have a leaning at this stage of who do you think is going to win? Collegian's form has been equally impressive in the second half.
Yeah,
of the
look,
year.
it has. I just think Scotch's form has been better for longer and a little bit more emphatic for longer. They've had some big wins.
They've beaten Blacks and St Bernards, which is something Collegians haven't been able to do.
Yeah, and I think that Scotch are the middle point, capable against St Bernards and Blacks. The middle point between Collegians and who came from Trinity. Like they're in a little island of their own, Old Scotch, and capable that way. But if they're off the boil on Saturday, they can lose. The other thing about it is it's a ground that neither of the sides will be very experienced on. The narrow, long Sandringham ground, which is a beautiful ground to play on, great atmosphere.
Has been widened. There's been a redevelopment of it since.
Much?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, good ground. Look, they've been better for longer. I think they've played better quality football against good sides than Collegians have been able to. So purely for that reason, but if those players that have been out come in and their rhythm is off because of it, well, Collegians will certainly take it right up to them.
Final tip?
I'll go for Scotch.
Yeah, I think Scotch in that one as well. That's the Premier semi-finals preview. You can, of course, hear the match of the day. We'll be covering University Blacks and St Bernards from 2 o'clock on Saturday on 96.5 FM. John, you'll be there. We'll see you then.
Too much football's never enough at this time of year, Andrew.
Hope you can join us next week. There's been some fantastic stuff happening in the VAFA this week. I'm not sure if you caught up with Olivia Crow, one of our staff members here. She did the Ice Bucket Challenge out here on the ground here at Sports Car Arena. I know a lot of other VAFA clubs have been getting involved, and it's great to see that sort of support going through for a charity like that. The other thing that caught my eye during the week, we've got a bit of footage. This is from the Division 3 preliminary final, Aquinas versus Swinburne University. Great to see the Aquinas supporters getting right into the spirit of things behind the goals. Take a look at this footage right now. That's all we've got time for on this very brief and short edition of VAFA TV. We'll be back next week. Make sure you check us. That's all we've got time for on this very short and brief edition of VAFA TV. Enjoy the finals and good luck to your team on the weekend. We'll see you again next week.
VAFA TV at vafatv.com.